Well, it's traditionally a very big weekend at the theater, and with the temperatures reaching 115, say 116, well, you know what? You're just going to want to cool off, and a lot of people will rush to see a movie and let everybody else pay for the AC bill. David at the snack bar has done this enough to know that not only do the movie makers know this is a big weekend, but of course we do too.
Right, and some of the movies, the only reason to go is for the air conditioning. But let's start with one that's actually pretty good. It's called Larry Crowne. This is Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts. Tom Hanks plays a guy who gets fired after working at a job for a long time and decides to go back to college, and Julia Roberts is one of his professors.
What'd they say?
You have to listen twice.
Larry Crowne at the Common Break area? It's Employee of the Month Day. How many will this be?
I'm not saying not.
Yeah, he thought he was going to get Employee of the Month. He gets fired because he didn't go to college, so they can't promote him any longer, and their policy is you have to be able to move up within the company. So they fire him. Other things have happened bad in his life, so he goes to college to try and get that on his resume. Meets Julia Roberts as well as Mr. Sulu there. And he does pretty well. He becomes involved with some of the college students. He gets into a scooter gang, which is pretty funny.
Oh!
This is a nice romantic comedy, and it's a good cast. I mean, they play off each other really well. And if you like Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts, and most people do.
Have they done a movie before together?
They've done one movie together, Mr. Wilson's War.
Okay.
It was the only movie they've done together before. And they weren't in as many scenes as they are in this one. She's interesting at the beginning of the movie. She's a little disillusioned, and then he kind of brings her back into teaching. So I do recommend this movie. It's 3 out of 5 bags of popcorn, and definitely worth checking out if you want a romantic comedy.
Their interviews leading up to this have been hysterical.
I've heard that, yeah.
Oh my gosh, they are so funny. Transformers: The Dark Moon is where you will find my husband and my son at, I'm going to guess, 1:30 maybe?
Well, like I said, there's movies that the only reason to go is to get out of the heat and the air conditioning, and this
happens to be one of them.
Absolutely.
Our entire space race of the 1960s was in response to an event.
The premise of this is that the entire Apollo moon project was done so that we could get someone to the moon to find out what crashed there. And turns out to be Transformers. So now the Transformers on Earth, they go back to the moon and find a super Transformer who they think is on the good guy side, turns out not to be.
He's a Decepticon?
Well, he's not. He's an Autobot, but he was a leader of the Autobots, but he becomes a traitor, and there's reasons for it. And he's voiced by Leonard Nimoy, so we got two Star Trek people in 2 movies in a row. But anyway, that might be the highlight of this film. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, not counting trailers. This thing is long, it's boring, it's pointless, it's terrible. 1 bag of popcorn. I didn't like it any more than I liked the last one, which Michael Bay said was terrible.
Words, though, for people that are Transformers fans. You realize this, right?
If you're a Transformers fan, there's nothing I can say except, yeah, I won't say anything more than that. You're going to go see the movie, you're going to pluck down your money. What can I tell you?
You know what I did see last weekend? I saw Cars. Cars 2?
Cars 2, yeah. That's the good sequel to, I think the sequel to Cars 2 is better than the original, actually.
I don't know.
Finn McMissile, British intelligence.
So mighty, average intelligence.
This actually has a plot. They're going. Lightning McQueen and Mater go to the World Grand Prix, the first one ever, and it's got a green subplot with the alternate fuel
fossil fuel. Yeah, my kid's like, "What's fossil fuel, Mom?"
Well, oil. Anyway, but there's a whole subplot with basically the whole plot is a spy movie. It's a takeoff on everything from Austin Powers to James Bond, just about everything in between. Therefore, I think adults will like it a lot more than they did the first one. I liked it more than I did the first one. But I thought Cars was Pixar's at the bottom of their movies, but it being Pixar, it's still above most other animated films.
Oh, I loved it. I personally loved it.
Cars, I gave it 3 bags of popcorn, maybe 3.5, and definitely was something you could take the kids, the entire family to see.
Yeah, for sure. The adults like it. The kids ask you a ton of questions. Just tell them to be quiet, and when you get home, you'll explain it.
That's it, exactly.
All right.
And then we have Selena Gomez as someone, she goes on vacation, gets out of school, wants to go to Paris, and she happens to look like a dignitary who's going to be taken to Monte Carlo. So there's a Prince and the Pauper thing going on. So she and her friends end up in Monte Carlo and go from there.
Imagining myself walking along the Seine and standing on top of the Eiffel Tower.
Do you mind if we order? Grace, go with Meg and Emma. Have a great trip.
Yeah, if your kids like Selena Gomez, your tweens, then they will probably like this movie. Leighton Meester is also in it. It's basically a Disney Channel or Nickelodeon movie that they're putting on the big screen. And alternate, if you have daughters who don't want to see Transformers, you can take them to see this. 2 bags of popcorn for Monte Carlo.
Whoa, you gave it more than Transformers?
I would give Staring at a Blank Wall more than Transformers.
Right. Is there any Justin Bieber sightings? Isn't she dating?
But not in the movie, there isn't. And then we have Beginners. This is an interesting movie. This guy finds out that his father is gay, and then 5 years later, his father is 69 years old when he comes out of the closet, and then he dies a few years later. So his last 5 years, he has a great time changing his whole life. It's actually a very interesting movie. It's funny, and it's poignant at the same time. Beginners, 3 bags of popcorn. It's worth going to Harkins Camel View to see.
Okay. Well, we hadn't seen you in a while. I'm glad to have you back.
Well, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Enjoy your 4th of July movies.